All right, guys, welcome back to the workshop. Tonight's video, like I say every time, is going to try to be a quick one, a shorter one, but it is all about updates on the Texas Special Project. I don't think I've put a video out on this project here in at least a week and a half or 2 weeks or so. So I wanted to make sure that I got y'all back up to speed on kind of where we stand. When we last left off, we had, or I had painted the shells, had added the white accents, touched up the frames, shown kind of those trucks getting some attention as well. I don't think I included much of the preparation on these aprons, so we'll get to that and I'll show y'all. But just a quick look. These were the shells. I don't know if I did really too many close-ups on that last video, but here's a real good look. And there's a look at those little small sections that bled, but overall came out really nice. Again, you have just a little bit of bleeding through on that shell, but again, I'm not going to mess with it too much. So there is the shell, but overall, very crisp, clean lines for the most part. The white came out really good. Very happy with the results. So there's that. On the physical frames themselves, again, I had told you I was going to touch up this power frame from where it was sitting before. It had been painted before, but I wanted to touch it up. I went ahead and covered the existing grounding points so that I didn't have to strip them again, and came out really good. Again, this was more of a touch-up for the power frame because it did have paint already. So happy with how that came out. This was that really heavily chipped up NYC frame that I needed to strip and then prime and paint. I think I did include part of that in the last video. I still need to take the screws out. I noticed that a few of those are still there. But overall, again, this was the one that I actually made my own E-unit slot for. So it looks really good. I don't want to say it just looks factory, but it doesn't look too botched. I'm happy with it. So that is the non-power frame. Again, very happy with how that came out. Very smooth. Really happy with it. And then we have our aprons. The aprons came out really nice. Again, have a very nice sheen. I've already clear coated these and all the good stuff there. So they are ready for reinstallation when the time comes. It does, again, it's going to look really good when it is butted up with that assembled A unit. So that's really the update on the shell, the frame, and the side truck portions and things like that. That's really the gist of that large portion of the project. It's looking really well. In tonight's video, I am going to add a insert of me placing the decals on one side of that. And when we get into that, I'll explain kind of another portion of the decals I had to order because I was not happy with part of that. But we'll get into that when we break into that part of the video. More importantly, since the beginning of this video, I've mentioned that from the beginning, it was supposed to be an ABA. I ran into some issues with the B unit. I told you, I kept mentioning this B unit that I had, but never actually showed it to y'all. And every video I would talk about this B unit, so nice, so nice. And every time I come out here to record, I would forget to bring my B unit out to show y'all. So this is the B unit from my display that's inside the house. As you can see, it is not a perfect B unit by any stretch of the imagination. It's got its issues, it's got its scratches and things like that. But overall, the bones are good. And I just could not bring myself to sand this thing down, paint it, and make it something different, than its original Santa Fe scheme. There's no major damage to the shell other than some scrapes and things like that, but the paint is very much there, and I really just couldn't bring myself to redo that B unit. So this is the one I've been talking about, and this is the one I basically had decided I wasn't going to do anything with. So in comes the bigger update of the video, which is this Lionel box that you see here in the background. So real quick before I get into it, I want to give Ron Davis at Classic Model Trains a huge shout out. Just, the way the timing worked out when he posted a video of his. I'm a subscriber of his, so his videos pop up on my feed when I open YouTube, so I happen to watch it. And his video was basically explaining that he was getting out of some of the O-gauge stuff and was kind of, focusing on one of his specialties and was moving a few of his items, one of which are the items in this box. And in the video, he mentioned that this unit in this box was not perfect. He said it had its issues. He was very clear from the get-go, but when he started mentioning those shortfalls of this piece, I thought, well, man, that might make the perfect donor for my project because I won't have as much heartburn, sanding it, repainting it. So, without further ado, let me get this thing unwrapped. And we have ourselves another Santa Fe B unit. And real quick, this step was part of it when I got it. And I broke it off like a dummy. I don't know how I did that. I think maybe when I was unwrapping it, I just wasn't paying attention. But anyways, that'll have to be reapplied. So that was not how I received it. I did that. But overall, good frame. These trucks are not exactly the style I'm looking for, but I have plenty of F3 dummy rear trucks that should fit in the place of these just fine. And I'll have videos as I kind of go through this B unit, and we'll test that down the road. So that is that. However, the shell is really what made this a good donor. It's hard to show on actually that catches it okay. As you can see, it's decent, and then you have a big whammo right here about midway through the shell, and then it kind of goes back up. It is pretty substantial. It's not even a camera issue. It is really sagging that much here in the middle, where everything just kind of drooped down the shell at some point. I'm not really sure what would create damage like that, but it is interesting. So in the process, we're going to find a way to fix that. I'm already thinking it's going to incorporate some type of heat. You know, I have a heat gun I use for correcting shells sometimes. And I'm going to have to make some type of bracket that I can push this whole shell back up uniformly instead of just focusing on one spot. But again, that's another video for another time. But basically that kind of solves my B unit issue, assuming I can repair this shell. And I won't have as much heartburn sanding this down and repainting it, because it's going to need quite a bit of work to get that shell rectified. So, but the big update there is we have a B unit again. So that's exciting. So that is that. Again, thank you again to Ron Davis at Classic Model Trains for making that possible. I'm excited to hopefully get that thing back into some sort of shape. And then a minor update is I went ahead and ordered some new portholes for these shells because I didn't want to put the old yellowed portholes back in there. I got some more brushes for those motors. I was able to, I think, put fresh brushes in maybe 2 or 3 of those, but I came up short, so I wanted to make sure I had plenty. And I went ahead and ordered new windshields, which obviously these are the pieces that you'll be able to tell real quick if they're faded or not. So I just wanted to make sure that I put some fresh plastic on these locomotives just so they look fresh again. They're fresh paint, freshly, cleanly redone. I wanted that plastic windows and portholes to look good. So that is the major updates for the project. I'm going to go ahead and stop this portion here. When we come back, I'm going to have my bench laid out here for decal application, and we're going to try to bust out one of these sides. Okay, we are back. We have our workbench set up for the decal application here. Obviously, I'm just going to do the one side with y'all tonight, and then I'll do the others off camera. I just wanted to include y'all in this portion of the project just because I feel like this is an important step in kind of bringing this project to life. So I wanted to make sure I at least showed y'all the application of one side. I had mentioned in a previous video that I wasn't real happy with how the decals had come in received. If you notice on the MKT portion, one of the T's was basically off of the decal. I had to reach out to the seller, and he was gracious enough to fix the issue and get me the proper decal that is printed correctly. So got that all fixed up, and we are good to go. So we're just going to go from left to right. We're going to make this pretty quick. If you do models or apply to wet slide decals, there's not a whole lot to it. So again, not so much a tutorial as it is just having y'all here for this part of the project so y'all can at least see the application of one of these. So the way I do it is I just, I put it in the water over here. I have my my water bowl for soaking, and I just put just a little dab where I'm going to apply the decal here on the shell. It does not take much. And then I'll basically put that decal on and just let it soak for a second. We're going to wait till it starts to come off of its backing. Just still soaking just a little bit. All right, now we're getting some movement. Make sure we don't wrinkle it up or tear it. We're just going to move it right onto the shell there. And what I'll do is once I basically kind of have it where I want it, is I'll come here with a little piece of paper towel and absorb most of that excess water. I can still manipulate it at this state, but I will bring it, and I just want a little bit of white between the MKT and the shell. Something else I noticed about these decals is on most of the 2245s I see, you know, when you Google the images, is I believe the MKT and the Frisco were basically the same level. Like the Frisco didn't go at an up angle. I don't know if you can tell how it's not perfectly straight in line with MKT. Again, I'm not going to nitpick that too much because decals are in pretty short supply in general, trying to find a good decal for these, so I can't really complain too much, but I did notice that. So there is our MKT. We're going to go ahead and get our Texas Special in the water. Let that soak for just a minute while we get the this lined up. What I try to do, or what I'm trying to do, is from the photos I've seen, the T basically lines up with the edge of this grate or grill right here. So I try to line the T up, and you'll see me doing that here in just a moment when I get my decal on here. So again, we're going to just place it onto the shell. We'll get just a little bit of water around it. And we'll just give it a minute. This is a long decal, so you got to be careful because it's easy to tear these wet slide decals if you are not careful, and you do not want to do that. So we're going to just try to easily and gently get this off of its backer. And we should just be able to grab it and get it over here. Very good. We'll get rid of that trash there. And I'm just going to come and blot some of this extra off of here. So again, very easy to manipulate it still. And this is what I was talking about. Basically, I want the edge of that T in line with that grate. That seems to be, for most of my picture references, is normally the alignment for these decals. And we want some uniformity here. And I just try to equal the tops and the bottoms basically between that white. There's really not too much thought with that. Okay, so as you can see, we have the Texas Special and our MKT Frisco there on the front. Now we will go ahead and place our rear built by Lionel decal here on the back. We're going to let it soak. Do it just like we did the others. This one is quite a bit simpler than the a little bit longer Texas Special there. Just as before, we got both wet. We'll leave some water here until we get it removed from the backing. Still waiting for it to soak in. All right. So I'll come in and I will try to get some of that water pulled out from underneath it. And this one, you basically just come in and basically center it in that small rectangular portion. Make sure your words and everything look straight, obviously. Oh, easy does it. That looks pretty good. And then you have your built by Lionel there on the rear. It's hard to kind of give you a good look on camera, but it is pretty straight on my end. And then essentially we're just going to let those dry out. A really quick tidbit on the front. I do have the white star decals for the nose portion. I'm not real happy with these stars. If you look up any examples of these 2245s, it's more of what I describe as like a sharp triangular type star versus this what I call like a rounded. If you're kind of looking at the inner shape, it's more rounded, and I'm not real happy with that. So I did order a just a straight set of star decals in all different sizes that don't have the border, and they're just a sharper type triangle. So I just wasn't happy with these, so I decided not to go with those and had to actually order some others. So that is going to wrap up the decal application. I just wanted to make sure that y'all, like I said, were part of at least one of these applications. So really brings life to that shell. So I'm going to cut it off here, and I believe that's going to conclude the video for tonight. And hopefully when we pick this thing back up, I have these shells decaled. I'll have them clear coated by then, so everything will be nice and sealed up. And we'll be right to the assembly and running of these things, at least the AA units. When it comes to that B unit, we have a whole nother little series we'll have to do with that one because we're a little behind the curve on that unit in comparison to these two. So that's going to do it tonight. I appreciate y'all watching, and we will catch y'all on the next one.